I Mother Earth. We're not talking about a vegan bakery. We're talking about the alternative groove rock monsters from the Canadian 90s music scene. I Mother Earth was one of the most staggeringly talented and unique sounding bands on the planet. When you hear I Mother Earth, what comes to your mind? Long hair, slappy bass lines, brothers with immense creative vision, devastatingly handsome lead singer who leaves, spawning the Canadian version of the David Lee Roth-Sammy Hagar debate? We've got all of that and more in episode 2 of the Great Canadian Mixtape.
Turn up the good, turn down the suck.
Our Lady Peace, I Mother Earth, the Matthew Good Band, Treble Chargers, Soul Asylum.
But they weren't even Canadian.
Oh, sorry. Big Wreck, The Watchmen, Big Sugar, The Tea Party, Holly McNarlin, and many more. A nostalgic ride through 90s CanCon, the MuchMusic era, and the golden age of Canadian music. Our bands, our stories. This is the Great Canadian Mixtape. Welcome, my fellow fans of the greatest time in Canadian music. If you are new to the podcast, which basically all of you are, this is only the second episode, we are here to take a step back. Take a step back from TikTok, AI slop, streaming services, endlessly complex terms and conditions, website crapification, and a relentless barrage of stuff that we're told is news. And if only for these 30 or 40 minutes, jump back in time. Jump back to a truly incredible time in music. We are here to reminisce, to share stories, and to celebrate all that was great about the golden age of Canadian rock music. We're talking roughly 1992 to 2002. And although this podcast is most definitely a gloriously nostalgic romp through the good old days, it also serves a purpose. Our generation, the late Gen Xers and the elder millennials, we are the last generation that can be forgotten. Now, everything is filmed. Everything is archived. It's all sent out across social media. Every concert, every music video, every interview that you could ever want is all right there at your fingertips, clear and accessible. But for us, our youth is archived in rare, grainy VHS quality. The bands, the concerts, the memories that helped shape who we are fading. So, I welcome you to the Great Canadian Mixtape. A little bit of humor, a little bit of history, but ultimately a retrospective respite. It is my hope that by telling you a few stories and painting a few pictures for you, I may conjure up some of your own memories from that time. And hopefully, if you're really with me, motivate you and inspire you to join me in chronicling and archiving these memories. In this episode, we're going to share our very first listener memory in a section we're going to call Tales from the Great Loud North. It's a magical musical moment from the 1990s, and it's not my moment, it's yours. We're going to share that at the end of the podcast. Also, a big thanks to those of you who are with me after just one episode. Big shout out to listeners in Orillia, Scarborough, Sudbury, and Sudbury. That's what happens when you try to talk too fast in this affected voice. Big listeners in Orillia. Okay, sorry. Shout out Orillia, Scarborough, Sudbury, Toronto. I see you. I can see you in the analytics, and welcome. Also, American listeners, surprisingly, Boardman, Oregon, Gainesville, Florida. Welcome. And it seems we've got some expats tuning in. We've got a listener from Morris, Germany. I think I'm saying that right. Probably saying it wrong. Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and Davao City, Philippines. Seems like our generation has got some global reach, which is actually a good thing. Because although we weren't the greatest generation, we were definitely the coolest. And it's hard to find a cooler band than I, Mother Earth. Let's go back. It's summer, 1996 or 1997. I'm at the age where I'm not old enough to stay at home by myself for the entire week while the rest of the family went on vacation, but I'm also old enough to wish that I was. We're coming back from an end of the summer trip to Collingwood, Ontario. Now, this was before Intrawest got into Blue Mountains and Collingwood, and it was still kind of a sleepy summer retreat. The town of Collingwood at that time was really dead. I think they had like a Zellers in town. That was basically it. You could stay at Tyrolean Village before it became this like rundown party resort for university students from the city, or you could stay at the Blue Mountain Inn. At the Blue Mountain Inn, they had this like cement mountain death slide that you could ride. And it's the kind of ride that like no parent would allow their children to go on today. You know, looking back at it, was probably fair. Like it was really sketchy, but it was fun at the time. It's kind of the same thing when we look back at the playgrounds that we played at as kids, the all metal playgrounds, or we'd go to Chuck E. Cheese. They had these animatronic robots, or we watched Saved by the Bell, and there was this character named Screech. All of these things seemed kind of cool at the time. It was only as we got older that we realized they were kind of sketchy. But we all had kind of a higher risk tolerance for being maimed, injured, or creeped out back then in the name of fun. And so anyways, we're driving back down the 401, and I'm filled with all of those, emotions that like a young teenager feels. Now, the summer is over, but we're going to get to see our friends again, and I'm going to get to go to school, and I'm going to wear a bunch of my new cool clothes that I can show off my new image. I'm going to let everybody at school know that, I've really changed over the summer. I'm way cooler now than I was last 3 months ago or whatever it was. And truth be told, my mom still bought me a lot of my back to school clothes at that time. So my jeans weren't as baggy as I would have liked them to be. But since I had had some money from working summer jobs, this was my opportunity, and I bought my very first band t-shirt. A full-screen printed image of the cover of Scenery and Fish, I Mother Earth's second and most popular album, a shirt I was proudly wearing on that day as we pulled into one of the rest stops along the 401 somewhere around London, Ontario. And as I walked into the McDonald's, I stood in line with my parents and my younger siblings, and the girl behind the counter started looking at me. Now, she seemed at the time to be so much older, but in reality, she might have had a year or two on me. But it seemed like a lot more back then. This girl looked at me, and to my surprise, she didn't look away. She actually kept looking, and then she smiled, pointed to my shirt, and said, "That shirt is awesome. I Mother Earth rocks." An older girl talking to me about bands? I wanted to ask her to marry me. Of course, I had nothing cool to say in reply, but I just, mumbled some awkward teen phrase like, yeah, they do, my Mother Earth, awesome, cool and stuff. And then I let my dad order and pay for my combo meal, and that was the end of the story. But on that day, I realized the power of the band t-shirt. You know what I'm talking about. You remember buying your first band t-shirt, and it wasn't like it is now. Now you can go to like Walmart and buy Master of Puppets t-shirt, but not back then. Back then, you had to get band t-shirts at shows, the merch table, or you had to go into record shops, or maybe a little later on, you had to go into Spencer's Gifts to find a cool band t-shirt. You had to seek them out. Now, for those of you who joined the Substack or who are subscribed to the YouTube channel, I would love it if you could share the story of your first band shirt. It's one of those moments that we all have and we were so proud of at that time. So for me, my first band shirt, I Mother Earth. Now, I remember MuchMusic playing a solid dose of early I Mother Earth. We're talking about So Gently We Go and Not Quite Sonic videos. But the band really announced themselves to the scene with 1996's Scenery and Fish, and specifically the track, One More Astronaut. That was the first real exposure that many of us had to the band. Now, hey, if you're an early adopter from the Dig days, respect, it's an amazing album. But if Dig was a knock on the door, Scenery and Fish was the battering ram. So who was I Mother Earth? On lead vocals, the man with one name. Not Prince, not Bono, not Sting, but Edwin. Just Edwin, the good-looking, charismatic lead vocalist. Then we had Bruce Gordon laying down some of those beautiful signature funky slap bass lines. We have Christian Tanna on the drums, and to call him a drummer is doing him a disservice. He is absolutely a full-stack percussion player, and, listening to I Mother Earth for 10 seconds, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And then we have Christian's brother, the awesomely named Jag Tanna, the visionary guitarist and lead creative force behind the band I Mother Earth. Now, for the passive listener, they check a lot of the boxes that we talked about in Our Lady Peace. We joked about the 3-word, 4-syllable band names, handsome lead singer, tight rhythm section, criminally underrated bass player. But if you really listen to I Mother Earth, those similarities between the two bands end there. They are, for my money, one of the most unique and creative bands Canada has ever produced. Look, I know they're often comped to the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but honestly, I never got that take. For bands to be really compared with each other, shouldn't there be like a distinguishing quality beyond, both have good bass players. It seems like there should be the opportunity to confuse the bands because they sound so similar. Example, Greta Van Fleet could totally be mistaken for Led Zeppelin. Or, even pre-Dance Party Billy Squier. Maybe that's a little more intentional. That's maybe an extreme example I'm cherry picking there. So let's look at a different one. Bring Me the Horizon. Their song Limousine is plucked directly from the Deftones playbook. Still sounds like Bring Me the Horizon, but with a very clear Deftones nod. Have you ever been listening to an I Mother Earth track and said, "Oh, this sounds like the Chili Peppers"? Has that ever happened? It's never happened to me. I've never, ever even come close to having that realization. But maybe I'm wrong. Hey, look, I'm going to say enough things on this podcast. I promise you I'm going to be wrong about things. I'm going to sound like I know what I'm talking about, but in reality, I don't.
Merlin was part of King Henry's court, and he won all the wars for him because he cast spells.
He was a part of King Arthur, not King Henry.
Yeah, it's a fable. A fable is history.
So if you disagree and you have an example, I'd be willing to consider it. But for me, I never got the Red Hot Chili Peppers comparison. And look, not that it's bad to be compared to the Chili Peppers. They're a classic band, and they're good, especially their early stuff. The early days, the long hair, kind of heroin days, those were awesome. Not the heroin, obviously, the music. I'm not saying one caused the other, but I don't know. For some bands, let's say Chili Peppers, maybe Stone Temple Pilots, their best stuff just kind of happened alongside of some pretty crazy drug use. Again, not advocating for it, just stating the correlation. Now, maybe some bands got off heroin and then kind of lost their edge or gained an edge. I'm not exactly sure how heroin works, but there seemed to be something that changed. And now I've ended up talking about heroin so much that the algorithm is going to flag this podcast. So, all right, I'll get back on track. Let's revisit what I Mother Earth meant to the Canadian music scene. So how exactly can we do that? Well, I Mother Earth have 4 major studio albums. Their first 2 brought them a large amount of commercial success and popularity in Canada, so much so that Edwin left the band and branched off into his own musical projects. Enter singer number 2, Brian Byrne. He sings on the 3rd and 4th albums, which were much less heralded than the first 2, but still near and dear to the hearts of the hardcore I Mother Earth fans out there. Now, from the start, it was pretty clear that the band captured lightning in a bottle. There are legendary stories floating around about how the band got signed after only their second gig, about how they kind of sparked a bidding war and labels were competing to sign them. That's all virtually unheard of at the time. But band history is not exactly what we're here to capture. Let's try to capture and remember what made I Mother Earth so special at the time. And to do that, we need to really kind of consider the music. What a concept. So let's organize our retrospective that way. We will start with the 2 Edwin-fronted albums. First one, Dig. What do you remember from Dig, their first album? The one with the dog wearing a gas mask on the cover. Iconic album cover. The album itself is an incredible debut album, and it lays down a lot of the framework for what we could expect from I Mother Earth. Tracks that just rip your face off, paired with tracks that lay down this impossibly chillest of grooves. For me, I remember the music videos from this version of I Mother Earth. Rain Will Fall is perhaps the most early 90s music video ever. You've got long-haired guys, they're set in the desert for some reason, there's all this weird imagery, there's quick cuts of headbanging, then Edwin's just lying on the ground like he's caught in that weird spell from Radiohead's Just video. It's all there. Then, watch the video for Levitate. Edwin cuts his long hair. And if that song and video were your first introduction to I Mother Earth, tell me you couldn't see them opening for a way heavier band like Pantera. Then, Edwin's hair grows back a little bit, and we have the impossibly chill So Gently We Go video. Just a really, really cool song to vibe out to. But perhaps more than anything, in the album Dig, we are introduced to the most defining characteristic of I Mother Earth. Something that I Mother Earth does better than any other band out there and is a signature move that really embodies I Mother Earth. The groove bridge. In metalcore music nowadays, bands are famous for the breakdown. You know, that part of the song where the band deviates from the established pattern and then just unleashes on you. A classic example of this is the "Disrespect, you're so proud" breakdown in A Day to Remember's Mr. Highway. Or my favorite example can be found in Silverstein's Midwestern State of Emergency. But before there was the breakdown, I Mother Earth had the groove bridge. Now look, That's not the official name for it. It's just something that I came up with to describe it. I'm sure there's going to be some pedantic music nerd out there who's like, technically it should be called interlude because a bridge serves as more of a musical contrast. Okay, settle down, nerd. Go back to your Dream Theater forum. I'm just kidding. Music nerds, you're welcome here too. I just maybe have a little bit of a sore spot for you guys because you're way better at music than I am. So I'll let you in on a little bit of my bias there. But I do want you to be here. And look, I'm Mother Earth. They totally opened up for Dream Theater and for Rush. So look, prog music fans, welcome. Just, have a drink, chill out. You don't have to flex music over me. I'll happily bow to your musical superiority if it can get us back on track. So yeah, the groove bridge, trademark, I Mother Earth. Now, sometimes they would feature an awesome Jag guitar solo, but most of the time, the groove bridge had Bruce and Christian laying down just this incredible rhythm, while Jag colored in a lot of the accents with effects-laden guitar licks. And inevitably, that groove bridge would ramp us right back up into the final part of the song. Levitate has an awesome groove bridge, but perhaps the best example from this album is in the song Not Quite Sonic. Scenery and Fish, the second album, has some incredible groove bridges as well, but they started in Dig. Now, as far as Scenery and Fish, if you are here listening, it means you know One More Astronaut. It's their most iconic song, a Canadian classic, and a song that really still holds up some 30 years later. But for those of us who remember the I Mother Earth rise during this era, you remember that this album was much more than just One More Astronaut. In typical I Mother Earth fashion, where One More Astronaut ripped, Another Sunday was the So Gently We Go of this album, a groovy, chill 90s track that just encapsulate that 90s slacker vibe. Consider the lyrics. On any other day, it's all rest and flowers. And a long night of nothing, in the morning some coffee. Or the line, is it unordinary to want this affection? But I don't have a real friend, and I hate my whole family. Raspberry, another awesome track from that album that rings the I feel all right, but I don't know if I am bell. Now, a lot of songwriters capitalize on superficial nostalgia. The glimmers of youthful freedom, the small town sentiments, packaged with easily digestible lines and on-the-nose metaphors. It's basically all of modern country music right now, and the latest track from A Day to Remember, which bums me out a lot, but I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. On the track, Used to Be All Right. It is equal parts road trip anthem and youthful retrospective. The vibes, the lyrics, a song that seems happy, but contains sprinkles of sadness, ennui, and loss. It seemed like no one else knew. We were just the moon and the sun in fog, before the heat burned it away and took the sleep from tired heads. Or the line, no time or presence of mine to wonder why. No time for questions of why. I wonder why. Something's wrong. I hear the noise, shakes the ground. There's a rage in the crowd. I'm a face in the crowd, face in the crowd, face in the crowd. Cool, but a little sad. Want one more awesome groove bridge example? Also from this album, the song Like a Girl. I love this track. It's a little bit of a deeper cut from the album, but the grooves, the wah-wah, the slappy bass, it's all there in spades. And maybe I'll try to make amends with my music nerd listeners out there, if you're out there. I don't know, but I think the first part of this groove bridge is in 7/4 time. Give it a listen. It has that missing note feel, and I can get a 4/3 count out of it, but I don't know. Maybe Christian is messing with the beat in a different way. Now look, I know in the last episode I said this wasn't going to be the Canadian Rick Beato What Makes This Song Great podcast. And the biggest reason for that is I'm a hack musician. I'm simply not knowledgeable or talented enough to figure out all of the compositional details of a song. And to be honest, I've actually given up that dream long ago. So, music nerds, maybe join the Substack or join the YouTube comments and let me know. Are my instincts flawed? What time signature is this? Whatever's going on, it's super interesting. Now, for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, don't worry, I barely know what I'm talking about. Now, for those of you who are interested in learning a little bit more about this, I'll pop a link in the Substack companion article with a link to a video that explains it way better than I ever could. And it seems like I've gotten off the path again, and now I've wandered into the music nerd minefield. I need to get back to safety right away. Okay, Scenery and Fish, a massive success here in Canada. So most of us who know I Mother Earth know them from the Scenery and Fish era. It was an awesome time. So, of course, what needs to happen next? What's the next evolution of the band? The next logical step after having two really great albums and getting a lot of commercial success? Well, the next thing we have to do is to break up. Yep, that's life. Well, not really break up, but, I guess Edwin leaves the band. And for a little while, the entire band's future is uncertain. After all, not many bands can survive the departure of their frontman. Now, before we get into the Edwin schism and the Brian Byrne years, I want to pause and send out a special call to musicians out there. Now, as I mentioned before, I was in high school and college bands over the years, playing local shows and doing the occasional recording, but none of the bands I was in ever toured. We just played locally. So this is a call out to you musicians out there who toured across this great land. I'm looking at you, the ones who loaded up a van, borrowed gas money from your parents, slept on the floor of some disgusting apartment just so you could play your gig at Canadian Music Week. Maybe you opened for the Tea Party. Maybe you once jammed with Joel Plaskett. Maybe Ken Tizzard let you borrow his guitar after your string broke mid-song. Or maybe Matt Good yelled at you backstage for, Matt Good reasons. You are listening. You're out there somewhere. You've driven all across this great country. You know to gas up in Kindersley, Saskatchewan because the gas station in Oyen is card lock and you don't want to run out of gas before you hit Hannah. You know these things. I'm calling out to you. My friend Bunkatron and I spent hours on the road together for work, and he would regale me with stories of the shows and the people that he met when touring with his band, the Touchtone Gurus. Bunkatron is gone now, but I know there are others like him out there. Can you help us? Can you join the Great Canadian Mixtape Substack? It's totally free. Or go to the YouTube channel comments and share your story with us. As we build out the Great Canadian Mixtape archive, we need your stories. Bunkatron's stories are now gone, but yours are not. Not yet. Whoa. It got dark there for a second. See, that's what happens when I speak in my dramatic tone for too long. My cadence slows, my voice gets whispery, and from there, it's a straight shot to existential dread. So we're going to step away from that for a reason. But I wanted to bring it up because I don't quite understand the tension that touring creates with a band. The creative tension is one thing, but spending days in a cramped van that breaks down, scrimping together cash, guarding your instruments at night so they don't get stolen, what does that do to you? What does that do to the band dynamic? Does it bring you closer together? Or does it drive you apart? Does it create a sense of brotherhood or a sense of animosity? It's something that I don't know, and I'm trying to understand. Because I wonder what it was that caused Edwin to leave. I know officially creative differences. Or perhaps more accurately, the fact that he says he had zero creative input. Maybe it was that. Maybe it was the newfound stardom coupled with his natural frontman magnetism. Maybe that led him to think that he could do it all on his own. Did he have some industry man in his ear? Spirit of competition? A little bit of ego? A little bit of exhaustion? Or maybe too great a dose of road trip breath and long, tall freedom? Whatever the case, in mid-1997, Edwin was gone. This was devastating news for me. Now, on MuchMusic, there was talk of a solo effort from Edwin. There was also talk of how I Mother Earth was in search for a new lead singer. Do you remember getting the news? And maybe it wasn't I Mother Earth news specifically. Maybe it was the Smashing Pumpkins falling apart in the late 90s, or Oasis breaking up like 19 times, or Soundgarden, or Pavement. That moment when your favorite band changes from is to was. And it's a moment we all know is coming. And oftentimes it's necessary. I mean, if you don't break up, you might end up releasing the same record for 30 years, shout out to my boys in AC/DC, or diluting your legacy a la Our Lady Peace, The Simple Plan years. And I'm sorry, I said I was going to leave that in the last episode. I keep bringing it back up because of reasons. It still bums me out. Now, maybe sometimes it's the sudden stop that is the force that cements a band's legacy. Does Nirvana hold such divine status if Kurt fades away rather than burning out? What if Andrew Wood had lived a few years longer, or Scott Weiland died a few years earlier? Of course, those are deaths. But whether death or breakup, the result is the same. A sudden stop. A ceasing of creative output. But at least when it's a breakup, there's always the hope of reconciliation, of reunion. Truthfully, who knows what happens if I Mother Earth had stayed together during that time? And although it's kind of fun to spend a few moments pondering the what-ifs, let's take a moment and get back to what actually happened. 1999, Edwin releases his debut solo album, Another Spin Around the Sun. Also in 1999, I Mother Earth releases their third album, Blue, Green, Orange, with new lead singer Brian Byrne, the pride of East Goose, St. Northbrook Bay Sound, Newfoundland, one of those Newfoundland towns. Now a band releasing new material with a new lead singer. Has that new lead singer ever been able to truly eclipse the original frontman? Van Halen purists panned the Sammy Hagar years, even though I kind of like him, truth be told. But I think we're all in agreement about the Gary Cherone years. Ronnie James Dio, the greatest metal vocalist of all time. But still, everyone remembers Ozzy's Black Sabbath. Phil Collins was good, but Peter Gabriel was better. And that's my second Peter Gabriel reference of the episode. How did that happen? I think maybe you could make a case for some singers. Brian Johnson, generally regarded as better, but there are still the Bon Scott purists out there. Perhaps the strongest one, maybe Bruce Dickinson. That's maybe the strongest case. Or maybe Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham sitting squarely over Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. And now I've wandered into the realm of my parents' music. I keep getting off track. I'm sorry, I'm going on these little side tangents, but I got to get back on track before I start talking about Air Supply. So here's a little bit more of a modern example. Now, if you're a fan of the band Saosin, or a real fan of the band and you call them Saocean, you'll remember when Cove Reber replaced Anthony Green. He lived in Anthony Green's shadow essentially that whole time, and it shattered his confidence and it drove him away from the band the first time. So what we have here is two lead singers, the icon and the new guy. And both of them have music out at the same time. The ability to resist comparison is impossible. Edwin's album had the songs And You, which has a suspiciously large amount of percussion in it, and the song Trippin'. And when these songs came out, I liked them. And I'm not exactly sure if I liked it because it was good or because I just really wanted to like it. My sense is that they were just kind of solid, serviceable songs that I hyped up in my own mind just because of who was singing them. But things started to get clearer for me when Edwin released the song Alive. Not the Pearl Jam song, a different one. Maybe you remember the music video. It's an ultra-positive song celebrating the magic of life. The intro sounds like a little bit of a slower version of the Matthew Good Band's advertising on police cars. But that intro melody aside, there is a lyrical chasm between those two songs. Alive perhaps presents itself as this kind of pensive life reflection, but in reality, it's just kind of a clean, easy-to-listen-to song. You know, you liked the song when it came out, so did your mom. In the video, there's an old guy, he dies. Edwin is doing stuff in the video. He's doing life stuff, just living life, skydiving, snowboarding, mountain biking. He's just life in his life. He's got on this like cool, nice new shirt. You know, that's how you know a band has gone commercial, right? They swap their like flannel and like grungy kind of image and they buy some nice new t-shirts. It happened with Wide Mouth Mason. You know, we were introduced to Wide Mouth Mason with My Old Self, you know, grungy and dark. And then Sean and Earl went out, bought new shirts. And suddenly we have, I can't even think. Oh, it bothered me so much. But New Shirt Sean is for another episode. Let's get back to I Mother Earth. I Mother Earth, sans Edwin, sorry, French Canadians, they lead with Summertime in the Void. I first saw the band perform together on an episode of Open Mic with Mike Bullard. And Brian Byrne, he brought a whole different energy. Now, Edwin, for perhaps his pretty boy sensibilities, he had this sense of gravitas, a presence. He didn't walk around the stage, he kind of stalked around the stage in a good way. He moved around in a confident, unhurried manner. It reminded me a lot of vintage Ronnie Van Zant. Not a ton of jumping or thrashing, just standing there and delivering. And I think it's what made him a really awesome frontman. I wrote font man in my notes here.
I printed out a sign specially for him using his favorite font, Garamond.
Who has a favorite font?
The Santiagos do, all of them.
He may have been a font man, but what I meant to say is he was an amazing frontman. During those long groove bridges, Edwin just grooved along with the song, anchored, maybe hammered on the cowbell a lot. You're waiting for an SNL cowbell quote, aren't you? Not this time. As I watched the band play together on Open Mic, It was clear that Brian was very different from Edwin. He was moving, he was jumping, he was crouching, so much crouching. That was like his signature move, the Brian Byrne crouch. He just brought a totally different energy to the band. And I can't quite tell you why, but I didn't really connect with the Blue, Green, Orange album at the time. Since then, and in preparation for the show, yes, I do prepare for the show, I went back and I listened to the album. And truth be told, I don't know exactly why I didn't like it. I mean, it's absolutely an I, Mother Earth album, through and through. And Brian Byrne has a fantastic voice. He is every bit the vocalist that Edwin is. Now, maybe, and I might be trying to grasp at shadows here, but it's a little bit more experimental. It kind of leads a little bit more into the funky side. It's got a lot of the wah guitars. Like, okay, there's a song called Black Socks there. It could totally be the intro to a 70s cop show. There's all kinds of groovy percussion throughout the album. Now, of course, that was always there. Maybe in this album, it was dialed up a little more. But look, there was nothing in the album that was out of character. And my goodness, the song Infinity Machine has an incredible groove bridge. It sounds like a Primus and I, Mother Earth collaboration. Listening to it in my 40s, I look back and I really like it. But I can't rewrite history. I didn't like it when it came out. I just didn't really connect with it. Did you? Were you able to connect with Brian Byrne right away? What was your reaction to solo Edwin versus Brian Byrne, I, Mother Earth? Did Edwin become your Gwen Stefani with I, Mother Earth relegated into no doubt territory? I'd love to hear your take on it. But there is one conclusion that I clearly drew, and I remember having this at the time. The split between Edwin and the rest of the band really cemented the Tanna brothers as the creative drive behind I, Mother Earth. Yes, Edwin was an amazing lead singer, but the creative talent in that band clearly lied elsewhere. Do you ever get the feeling that you're paying attention to the wrong member of a band sometimes? Like, if you're watching a band play live, sometimes these feelings can crop up. You know, we often get enamored by the lead singer, their voice, their image, their stage presence. They basically are the face of the band. But then when you watch them play, you catch something. There's something hinting at a staggering creativity off to the side. I'll give you a couple of examples. And this is the second time I brought them up in this episode, but the band Bring Me the Horizon from Sempiternal until about 2024. If you watch their live performances, of course, Ollie Sykes commands your attention. He catches your eyes. He's right front and center with that voice and with his image. But listen for Jordan Fish. He is always on. He never misses a note. He is completely in on every single moment of a live performance, a consummate musician, creative professional. And I don't think it's a coincidence that their rise to fame coincided with Jordan Fish joining the band. Here's another example. 30 Seconds to Mars. Watch them live and try not to get sucked in by the celebrity lead singer. It won't take you long to realize that maybe we've been paying attention to the wrong Leto brother. Let me land the plane with the direct I, Mother Earth Edwin comparative example. Both Edwin and I, Mother Earth sing about California. I, Mother Earth's lyrical offering to the California Shrine is found in the song Autumn on Drugs, and the lyrics read as follows. I can feel the time is right to find the legs to deal with this alone. So I'll turn around to all and wave the California wave. Now, Edwin's contribution, the song Hang 10. Peace, love, hang 10, California. Dreaming of the perfect wave, yeah. Floating down streams unconscious, waiting for a girl on a train. Oh my goodness, that's just a bunch of California-related nouns tossed into a bag. And rhyming wave with train, okay, look. The song can be appreciated for what it is. It's like Snow's The Plum Song. It's just kind of a happy song to turn on and not think about. Not every song needs to lyrically be like Apparitions. Look, I love watching those old martial arts movies. So here's an example. I'll put on Best of the Best. And for like 90 minutes, I'll believe that Eric Roberts and Chris Penn are better at Taekwondo than the entire Korean national team. I'll believe that. I have no problem doing that for 90 minutes. And in the same breath, that James Earl Jones, yes, Darth Vader, yes, Mufasa himself, just happens to be the world's greatest martial arts coach. It's fun. Edwin's Another Spin Around the Sun is just that. It's fine, it's fun, but forgettable. And I was happy for his success at the time. I really was. I really, really wanted it. But I was left wanting. Meanwhile, with Edwin's solo album stacked up against Blue, Green, Orange, Edwin seemed to be getting a lot more push. I Mother Earth was, still good, still true to form, but it feels like they never really got solid footing, got onto that solid ground with the Blue, Green, Orange album. Was that album going to be their downfall? Not for me. Now look, I pride myself on not being a total hot take artist. I've largely left a lot of my really big, aggressive music opinions back in my 20s and 30s. For this podcast, going down that line, yes, I've totally unearthed some of these old, strong opinions, but I'm trying to water them down with a sprinkling of compassion and understanding. I'm trying to temper my expectations and be a little bit more inclusive. Now, having a 4 in front of my age, I've tempered my opinions a lot. It's not because I don't have them, I've just sort of lowered my expectations of others. It's way more conducive to having a positive mindset. Look, if you like Simple Plan, McDonald's, Marvel movies, cool, you're a normal person. Those are normal things designed to be likable, and truth be told, I'll eat the occasional Big Mac as well. I no longer get enjoyment from taking dumps on things that other people like. That was something I did a lot in my 20s. Although, to be fair, it does come back from time to time. I'll still toss the occasional flaming bag of crap over the pop punk fence now and again. I get it. It's true. But those moments are certainly becoming more and more rare. But I bring this up because I have a hot take here. The fourth and final I Mother Earth album, 2003's The Quicksilver Meat Dream, is the best, most complete I Mother Earth album there is. Blue, Green, Orange lost me, but The Quicksilver Meat Dream won me back. I can put this CD on and run it from start to finish. And I can't say that about Dig or Scenery and Fish. Those have a couple of skippable tracks for me. Their last and least celebrated album being their best one. I know it's a hot take, but the only thing worse than a hot take is a hot cola. Which is why today's not sponsor is Yeti Coolers. Use the promo code HACKPODCASTER to gain 35% more social points over those plebes still using their crappy Coleman coolers. Is it wrong that I get so much pleasure from mocking the shoehorned podcaster sponsor read? I just got done saying that I don't like to crap on other people again, and here I am crapping on other. Or maybe I'm just fooling myself this whole time. Maybe there's a disconnect between the person who I want to be and the person who I am. But thank you for sticking with me on this ride and not giving up on me yet. I'll get there one day. Okay, let's get back. Why did the Quicksilver Meat Dream happen to win me back? I'm not exactly sure, but I think where Blue, Green, Orange leaned into the funky, groovy vibes, this album, The Quicksilver Meat Dream, takes on a little darker, more industrial tone. It's a little bit heavier, and it's a little bit more like in that sort of Nine Inch Nails vein, but not at the expense of Hallmark I Mother Earth. For example, the first 5 seconds of the song Juicy are more I Mother Earth than I ever thought was possible. The song Soft Bomb Salad, which sounds like the thing that gets me yelled at for dropping in the car without rolling the windows down first, features an incredible groove bridge, which leads into one of Jag's trademark guitar solos. And just a quick note, Jag is such an incredible guitar player. He can absolutely shred. But the beautiful thing is that his solos, I never hear that sort of self-indulgent solos that players of his skill and caliber often include. His leads, I think a lot, not that they sound the same, but they have the same approach. Ian Thornley, a big wreck. Ian and Jag, their lead parts always seem to serve the melodic structure of the song. And both of them are criminally underrated guitar players. Jag's also an incredible producer and composer, and he really, really is overlooked in the space, so I wanted to take the time to give him his shine. From a podcast that has 37 listeners so far. So doesn't matter, the 37 of us are here to shout out Jag and his incredible playing. Now, the song you likely remember from the Quicksilver Meat Dream is Like the Sun. For me, this album features the most memorable music video in the I Mother Earth collection. I'm going to link this in the Substack. Check it out if you've never seen it, or maybe that you've watched it and you've forgotten it. This is the video for the song No Coma. I saw this video and it haunted me. I actually had dreams about it. This is true. Now, the video starts with based on a true story. And then we are transported into just some generic suburban neighborhood. There's this guy. He's kind of dressed like Michael Douglas from Falling Down. He peeks through the blinds at his house. then emerges with a black garbage bag. He walks in slow motion to the curb, throws out the garbage, and then smirks. That's everything. That's what happens. But I'm sitting there watching it going, what's in the bag? Did he just murder someone? Is he a killer? Are there body parts in the bag? But no, then he couldn't carry it all with one hand. The bag would rip, but then why is he nervous? There's the dog that's smelling the bag. What does the dog smell? What's in the bag? It's so frustratingly simple. And yet, there are clues, there are subtleties, there are nods, there's way more happening that's on the surface. I saw the video for No Coma and I needed some answers. So I did what people did in the early 2000s. I went to the band's website where they listed the band's email addresses, and I sent an email to Bruce Gordon. And like 4 months later, he wrote back. Now look, today, everyone has basically unlimited access to bands and musicians that they like through social media. But it was a different time. We didn't just have that kind of unfiltered access to the people that we looked up to the people that we celebrated. There still was a separation between normal fan and artist. And I always appreciated the fact that he took the time to write me back. Now, in his answer, he did give me a very stock reply, like, the video was meant to provoke thought and interpretation, and it could mean different things to different people, except it says based on a true story. That's the old, 70s and 80s horror movie, like inspired by true events kind of, what story? Where is it inspired from? Where does this come from? Anyway, I'm going to leave it there because it's an opportunity for you to share. Have you ever met any of the guys in I Mother Earth? What were they like in real life? Feel free, if you'd like, to share your stories or your memories in the YouTube comments or on our Substack post. And now, since we are venturing firmly into the 2000s, it means that our story is coming to a close. But not without a few important footnotes. Although I Mother Earth did not release any more albums, they did continue to release singles. And I think it was in and around 2014, 2015, we got the song, We Got the Love. And that song is every bit of a classic I Mother Earth song. Absolute, true-to-form song that should not be dismissed because it doesn't fall within the 4 albums. Definitely check it out. Also, when a lead singer dies, the band can never be the same. They will never be the same. But when he leaves the band, there's always hope of the reunion. And in the late 2010s, we got our reunion. Edwin, after his solo experiment, and then after something called Edwin and the Pressure, which I remember being a specific separate band. I remember there being Edwin and then Edwin and the Pressure. Because like Sekou Lumumba was playing drums. I thought they were separate. But then when I was doing the research for this, I found some information that it was actually Edwin's second album. Now look, my memory could totally be wrong. And I'll give you an example of it. Even just in episode 1, I mentioned Rush's Test for Echo, one of the first CDs that I ever bought with my own money, right? After I recorded that podcast, I was like, I'd like to listen to that song, Stick It Out, from the Test for Echo album. So I went and brought it up on Spotify, and it wasn't there because the songs Stick It Out and Nobody's Hero are not from Test for Echo. It was from Counterparts. Now, Counterparts was another album that I owned, and I had blended the two in my memory. So look, memory is slippery, and I'm not trying to what's that called? The Mandela effect, when you are sure of remembering something that didn't actually happen that way. I understand that memory is slippery. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you remember? Do you remember that Edwin and the Pressure was like a distinct thing, or was that actually the second album? Let me know, because maybe I was wrong. Or maybe someone decided to revise history. Keep it together, man. We're almost at the end of the show. Okay. After Edwin and the Pressure, Edwin joined Crash Karma with Mike Turner from Our Lady Peace, Jeff Burrows from the Tea Party. And then after all of that, he finally found his way back home to I Mother Earth. These reunion videos are saved and they are preserved online, and they're definitely worth a watch. If for nothing else, a nice warm dose of nostalgia. Now today, in 2025, Brian and Bruce are no longer with the band, but those of you who still want to capture some of that I Mother Earth magic, you can still see them. They're out on tour today. And there are even some YouTube videos of both Edwin and Brian performing on stage together. Totally cool, totally worth a listen. But for me, and for many of you out there, I Mother Earth lives in the 90s, that magical time in Canadian music. So, if you want to be teleported back to that time, here's how you can do it. Let's rediscover I Mother Earth. If you want to fall in love with I Mother Earth all over again, I want you to start with One More Astronaut. It has all the IME things in one song, and it will throw you right back into the mix. From there, we're going to keep things cranked up a notch, and we're going to weave in both Edwin and Brian's songs. Let's go Levitate, Not Quite Sonic, Choke, and Like a Girl. Then, we're going to bring things down into the impossibly chill realm, into the groovy vibe realm. We're going to listen to No Coma. We're going to go So Gently We Go, Raspberry, and then the beautiful final track from the Quicksilver Meat Dream, Passenger. Haunting, enchanting, awesome. Then we're going to bring it back up with Used to Be Alright, Infinity Machine, and We Got the Love. Finally, for the last song, Shortcut to Moncton. Then, during that super long jam in the middle of Shortcut to Moncton, I want you to pour yourself your favorite cold or hot beverage and be thankful that music like this was put down and captured, and that you are a part of the select few who really appreciate and remember this colossally awesome band who contributed to the greatest time in Canadian music. I, Mother Earth, are major contributors to the story of the 1990s Canadian music scene. But so are you. And the point of this podcast is to conjure, evoke, and archive our stories from this time. And so I'm excited to share with you our very first Great Canadian Mixtape listener story in a segment that we're going to call Tales from the Great Loud North.
He ain't gonna show up like, hey guys, he's gonna show up going, woo! And we're gonna be like, right on.
Our first one comes from Says Create, who shared this Our Lady Peace memory in a YouTube comment. And it reads like this. I love that you mentioned Timbits because 100% the first time I heard them, Our Lady Peace, involved Timbits. I had just got my license and I took my parents' car to the city with my friends. We drove through Timmy's and ordered, and I love this because I think we've all done this, one Timbit. Cut into 4 pieces with Our Lady Peace blasting. It's a core memory. Says Create, that is a fantastic share, and we all remember that time when we're old enough to drive, but not old enough to go to bars or really go anywhere, so you just drive around. You want to do something cool and maybe a little rebellious, but we were bound to being good, polite Canadian kids at heart. Our Lady Peace playing all the while as our soundtrack. I love it. Thank you for sharing. And this is another warm invitation to all of you to share your memories. And I promise to feature one of these tales from the Great Loud North in each episode. This was episode 2 of the Great Canadian Mixtape, I, Mother Earth. Episode 3, Who Will It Be? I'm rapping, Choclair. Will it be Sloan? Treble Charger? Pure? The Matthew Good Band? The Tea Party? Truth be told, I'm still deciding on which full-length show to record next. But before then, you can expect the release of a mini-episode. And I have a bunch of bands lined up for these mini-episodes. The Odds, the Headstones, the Killjoys, even bands that don't begin with a definite article, like Glue Leg, Econoline Crush, and Pluto. But, sorry, one more Gladwell close. The first one to be featured is not a band. And it's not a guy. It is the imposing, the intimidating, the indomitable Holly McNarland. So stay tuned for that mini episode dropping sometime in the next couple weeks. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you'll continue to join me on this journey. And more importantly, you'll contribute to the narrative. Join the Substack. It's kind of like Modern Live Journal. It's totally free. It always will be. YouTube channel, comments, share your stories, because we are the last generation that is not obsessively archived, and our stories are way better than the ones that are being archived today. We don't want them to be forgotten. Please make sure that doesn't happen. The Great Canadian Mixtape is all of us. The Great Canadian Mixtape is recorded by me, just some dude in my home office. But to make it sound more legitimate, this episode was recorded in an old Astro van parked on 3rd Avenue South, just outside of the CFCR studios in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. This episode was produced by KT Peterman, mixed and mastered by the memory of the band Two Crown King and their grandfather Grand Poobah. Original artwork by Estella Fritz, and soundtrack and Foley design by Cool Slider, featuring the voice talents of the Ghost of Sean Majumder. Special thanks to Bradford Howe, Bert Nerney's, Poo's Koopy British Columbia, Crippler Burgers, those guys who own the drink in London, Ontario, and Vico Chocolate Milk. If you know someone who would like this podcast, please share it, invite them to listen, and join in on the storytelling. I hope to chat with you all soon. Rock on. right on. The Great Canadian Mixtape is dedicated to my friend Bunkatron, whose memory is my co-host.